Alright, keys acquired. Let's try this again, shall we? Never fails. I'd lose my fucking head if it wasn't attached. Yeah. People always ask me why I have so many goddamn keychains. On my keys. It's literally just to have a bulk set of keys so I don't lose them. I gotta get myself like an air tag or something to put on this thing. Just so I can find them when I do misplace them. Which is more often than I like to admit. Halfway home, realized I forgot my keys. Good thing is they weren't actually lost. I just left them in the work truck. You know, it's always nice, especially after losing my last set of keys recently. I had a nice little 250 there, a little Honda Rebel 96. Nah, I'm just guessing. I have no idea what year it was, but it was an old school bike. Threw up the deuces, you know. I think we're gonna take the long way home today, or at least go to the next entrance. You know. Kind of feel like taking the streets, but I don't really want to. It's gonna take me forever with all these damn stoplights that seem to be against me. Double check the backpack. Make sure that I don't lose the keys after I just acquired them. So anyway, I guess we could have a discussion about the bike. Um, so for everyone that did not watch my prior videos, I am on an R7, and I love it. I put about 6,500 miles on her so far, and she has great torque. I'm 6'4", 220 pounds. When I got the bike, I was about maybe 205, 206. But I've been on a bulk the majority of this year, which is like a month and a half, you know. So I put on about 10 pounds. So I definitely do feel it a little bit. Uh, I know it's only 10, 15 pounds, but you know, on a bike, it's like every ounce counts. You know what I mean? So I do feel it a little bit. You know, getting on the freeway. If I get on the freeway in third gear and I'm going about 40, I'll rip the throttle and it'll kind of want to bog out a little bit. But whereas it didn't really want to do that before, and now that I've put on these couple extra lbs, 10 pounds is 10 pounds, you know what I mean. I find myself having to downshift a little bit just to give me that torque that I was getting. I know it's kind of silly, but it's the truth. But other than that, this bike has zero problems, Absolutely love this thing. Fires right up every single time. Only problem I've had is when I was after I installed the exhaust, it has a baffle in the muffler, and I pulled the baffle out just to see how it sounded, and it sounded pretty mean, so I left it out. But about 2 days in, my bike threw a check engine light, which you don't want to see on a brand new bike, you know. So the only thing I could figure is that the oxygen sensor was reading just way too heavy of oxygen in there. So it threw a check engine light. Um, Also, I could kind of feel the engine not having the back pressure that it had before, so it was acting a little bit funny. But and then as soon as I threw it back in, kind of went back to how it was. So I elected to just keep it in. You know, bike still sounds nice even with it in, so I'm not concerned about that. But other than that, bike's had zero problems. I got tires changed at about 6,000 miles. Actually, just the rear tire. Front tire is still pretty good. It's just starting to reach the tread on the front tire, the tread marks, tread wear marks, but I think it's got a little bit more life in it. They're recommended for every 5,000-6,000 miles. It's a Bridgestone Super Sport. Changed the oil myself. Uh, One said about 800 miles. They recommended 600, but you know, I felt like just wanted to let it go a couple hundred more miles. Also, I was just procrastinating on it a little bit, so it is what it is. And then again at 6,000 miles, but the bike's been perfect. I think for a beginner bike, you could choose between. If you're considering going Yamaha and you're torn between the R3 and the R7, I think depending on your height and your size, it's kind of what's going to make that decision for you. If you're a little shorter, a little lighter weight, R3 might be a good fit for you. Seat height's a little bit lower, not as aggressive of a stance on it. Smaller back tire, you know, and of course less power, but R7 for a beginner bike, I don't see that there's anything really wrong with it, you know. It only revs up to about 11,000 RPMs, and you know, top speed's only 143 miles an hour. So it's kind of hard to kill yourself if you're brand new, and if you want to take it easy on her, she's just fine with that. She works well, low RPMs. She doesn't struggle to get going, you know. And if you want to run around town and just putt around, she's got the same exact platform as the MT-07. If you are thinking about getting a super sport as opposed to a naked bike, I've always been a fan of the super sports. Just not really that appealing as far as stance goes on the naked bikes. Don't get me wrong, they're good looking bikes, but prior to this I had a Honda, and you know, I just enjoy the aggressive nature of a super sport. So back to what I was saying, I really don't think it's a terrible decision for a beginner bike. 700 cc's between an R3 and an R7. Again, it's like depending on what you're comfortable with, and honestly your height and weight. Because I feel like if I would have got myself an R3, being the height and weight wouldn't have been very fun. Number one, and I would have had to get rid of it pretty quickly as soon as I became more skilled. But I love this bike. I've taken it up to top speed a couple times. It's a good looking bike. Easy to work on. Yamaha, so parts are pretty inexpensive. Yet widely available at the same time, you know, so and I've just really fallen in love with riding this thing, man. Taking it up to the canyons a couple times, and it shreds. Makes you smile. Also, being able to get this thing going at a lower RPM it's nice. It almost makes the bike a little more predictable. Instead of you sitting in such high RPMs, say like if you're on an R6, you know, you're trying to get power out of that thing. Sitting up at super high RPMs, bike can be a little jerky when you're trying to make minor adjustments. So I feel like as long as you're comfortable with upshifting and downshifting, then you keep yourself in gear and in the power band, you're going to be just fine. You're going to have a blast up there. Going through the twisties, you know. So I don't know. Any other questions about the R7 you guys want answered? Shoot them down below. I'm no expert, but I can give you my personal opinion on these things. After being on this thing for about 9 months now, sounds about right. I think I got it back in June of last year. All I've got done to it is exhaust, and it's just some aesthetics, you know what I mean? No tune on it. Still get some nice cracks and burbles. I think I talked about this in my last video. Still get some nice cracks and burbles out of it. Just out of a stock, just whatever the stock tune is, and uh, an SC exhaust. It's a good sounding bike. Kind of obnoxious sometimes. Gets a little loud, but with the helmet on, it's not too loud for me. Might bother everybody else, but at least hopefully it'll aid in keeping me alive some of these times when these drivers don't see me, you know? He was a skater boy. He said, "See you later, boy." Extremely light traffic today. It's nice. She wasn't good enough for her. But the way I see it, if you took the MSF course, if you were comfortable with the MSF course, if you have any riding experience in the past, but just have never pulled the trigger on a bike of your own, and you want a Yamaha, and you're stuck between them, and you don't want a 1K quite yet, I think the R7 is the way to go based off of my personal experience. Now, again, that's if you feel comfortable at the MSF course or have prior riding experience. Because if not, you pop the clutch on this thing in a little bit too hard IPMs and don't know how to chase out a wheelie, you might loop the damn thing. It's got a lot of torque. So just be wary of that. I've gotten a couple loops. A couple of wheelies that I had to chase out a couple times. It's fun. Don't know how to wheelie yet myself. Done it on a dirt bike before, but I don't know, man. The super sport, like, it's just a little intimidating. Eventually, I'll try it once this bike gets a little old, you know, and I don't feel so bad if I do loop it and lay it over. Because right now, if I looped it and laid it over, I'd still cry because I love this thing. But anyway, that's about it. I just got home, so like I said, leave any questions, comments down below, and I'll get back to you with any suggestions or answers that I can come up with. But until then, peace.